And this is not just happening here. Even other places are getting tired of pretending like we are somehow obligated to make our own societies into worse and more dangerous places by having no consequences for individual people who come into the country and make it worse through violence and or other crimes. Why we're just obligated to commit suicide on a national level, or more accurately, to commit murder-suicide because you're insisting on taking everyone else with you, is moronic. There's absolutely no reason why we should make our societies even a little bit worse. It took us a long time to build them. Our ancestors put their lives into building it. You cannot give me one reason why we're obligated to tear it down and make it worse. On Monday, the Swedish parliament passed a law that allows them to rescind an immigrant's residency permits based on their behavior while they're in the country. Crazy, I know. That country's parliamentarians passed the good behavior law, which covers both pending and current Swedish residents, by targeting any immigrants who are affiliated with extremist groups, have unpaid debts in the country, or are doing undeclared work under the table. Johan Forsell, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, that looks right to me, but, things are pronounced different from country to country, who is Sweden's Minister for Migration, said back when he proposed the Good Behavior Bill in March that anyone who doesn't make the effort to do the right thing shouldn't be able to count on staying. Radical, I know. And Sweden's parliament agreed with that entirely reasonable immigration policy. This law has been passed ahead of the fast-approaching parliamentary election in September as part of the right-wing government's crackdown on crime and high levels of immigration, the very issues that won the right-wing party the election in 2022. Human rights advocacy groups criticize this entirely reasonable law, calling it arbitrary, because residency permits can be revoked for non-criminal behavior. But I would point out, if you are making society worse, whether it's through crimes or through promotion of radical fanaticism, or through hurting the economy by taking on a bunch of debt that you never intend to pay back, if you are making society worse, tell me why that society should feel obligated to become worse in order to allow you to stay. The world does not revolve around you. Guess what? Everyone counts. Why are you the only person with rights? Why does the society that you claim that you want to come into have no say over what they want and no rights? Answer me that. That's not equality. That is oppression. A Stockholm group called the Civil Rights Defenders. They always have such nice sounding names to promote such destructive ideas. They claimed the good behavior law leaves people in uncertainty about what actions or expressions can be used against them. Yes, vague accusations. Fun, fun, fun. Till Daddy takes the she-bird away. It's as simple as this. Behave yourself and contribute positively, and you have nothing to be uncertain about. Is that so hard? Because it's not for me. That's only a problem or confusing for a very specific type of person. Regardless, the reality is that under the new law, the residency permits are reviewed by the migration agency, and their decisions can be appealed by the migration court. The good behavior law was passed alongside Sweden's new so-called snitch law. The so-called snitch law requires that workers at certain government agencies are actually obligated to report any illegal foreigners that they encounter to the police. Yes, I know this is hard to grasp, but try to follow me. Government is there to actively guard against violations of the law. That is their whole reason for existing. So, requiring government employees to do that, their job, should be a given. If you, as an individual, do not want to participate in protecting the integrity of the laws, that's not what you want your life to be about, that's fine. Get a different job. Don't go into the government. Because government is about preserving the integrity of the laws. It means it's not for you. Why do we pretend that this stuff is complicated? It's not. No one forces you to work at the government. If you work at the government, you have to do the job. This is not hard. In recent years, after lots of violent attacks, etc., Sweden has greatly tightened down on its immigration policy, shifting from being a country that was very welcoming of foreigners, including Afghans and Syrians, to now only accepting high-skilled workers that make their society better. Shocking, I know. People actually have some self-interest that factors into life every once in a while. In 2016, an all-time high of over 160,000 immigrants entered Sweden in 1 year. And that yearly number was projected to stay at 100,000 immigrants entering that country every year after that. As a result, as of this spring, Sweden's population consists of around 10.7 million people. And the number of foreign-born inhabitants there right now accounts for 1 out of every 5 people throughout the entire population. Sweden's common sense crackdown on radical mass immigration stands in stark contrast to most of their European neighbors, who have continued to open their borders to millions of refugees and asylum seekers in recent years. Thus, the immigration debate has reached a boiling point in Britain and in Ireland after years of extreme crimes being perpetrated against the population by migrants, all of which gained worldwide attention. So they not only are crime victims, they're being humiliated. And after decades of the mass rape of their women, including children, which they were told to shut up for the sake of diversity. That's a quote. Sweden is also facing a massive increase in violent crime, according to the Swedish National Council for Crime Prevention. There were reportedly 769 rapes in 1975 and 10,167 rapes in 2024, which is an increase of 1,222% in just 50 years. Again, we are not obligated to make our societies worse to prove some bizarre point that no one has clarified as of yet. There have also been rising numbers for shootings, bombings, and gang violence in Sweden's suburbs, all of which have negatively affected that country's once peaceful reputation worldwide.